15 discussions, who also armed themselves, and also why the judge allowed those three men to be described as arsonists, looters, rioters, because he's setting up the possibility of having an objective jury be able to evaluate that particular defense.
So a different jury, or lack of a jury at this point, is in the news. And this is in the trial of the men accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery. They're having a hard time getting people to show up for jury duty. Like half the people aren't showing up. And if you listen to the statements from some of the people being called, they're afraid, Laura. And that's deeply concerning for a whole range of reasons.
Of course it is. I mean, this case comes down to, first of all, vigilante justice. If that's even a thing, it's really an oxymoron.
In this case, right? I mean, what did Ahmaud Arbery do?
In this case, you're talking about he was running. In this case, to continue to haunt people, he was just running down the street, and he was chased down by three men who thought they had some real reason to stop him, and then to use deadly force. The jurors in this case, first of all, you're not allowed to, unlike what Steve Bannon and the like believe, you're not allowed to just sort of thumb your nose at a subpoena. This is a jury summons, and it is a crime to not show up for court. However, it's part of that larger issue, as you speak of, John, the idea of people knowing this is a very high-profile, highly publicized case, that it's going to be fraught with discussions about race in America, about law enforcement, even though there are no cops who are actually on trial for this. But they're afraid about what the ramifications may be. But, you know, it is a civic duty of people to be on juries. And this is somebody who lost their life, and he has every right to have a jury on behalf of his family and the prosecution to be able to have a jury of people who will decide this case.
The defense is saying, they're pointing to this, and they're saying they're not getting a fair cross-section. It basically sounds like they're saying they're not getting enough white people. You know, they're talking about having the accused being able to look at the jury pool and see themselves in the jury. What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, the phrase jury of your peers does not mean that you get to have somebody with your exact identity, demographics, your age, your race, your religion, your gender. It means a jury of people from the community, a cross-section of the community, of people who have every right to serve and should serve on a jury. So there's no requirement that you get a certain race. But that's part of why this case is so troubling, because the notion, and we know there is a statistic to talk about, if it's a different race defendant and a victim, people have preconceived notions and oftentimes are less likely to convict depending upon the race of the defendant and the race of the victim. And so this is a concerning issue the Supreme Court has dealt with time and time again about having jurors who are representative of the community. But remember, the Boston bomber. That was a case where the judge said there was not enough about screening, and that now ended up on appeal in front of the Supreme Court. So we have that possibility as well.
Two incredibly important trials. Laura Coates, thank you so much for that.
Thanks.
CNN's coverage continues right now.